Hello everybody. Once again we have some more questions for Judy. First of all, I think a lot of people may be asking out there, how does Judy know about all this information, or where has she got her information from? So I think it might be best to start simply by just asking what was your most profound experience and how that changed your life.
Okay, my most profound experience occurred back in 1983 when I was age 30. I had a very fully conscious daytime encounter with a couple of greys, in which I was placed in a paralysed state, as many people are during encounters. And the next thing, I saw the two greys standing beside me, and the fear that I'd been experiencing because of the paralysis suddenly disappeared, because I recognised these two as family, and I suddenly realised I had a very deep connection to them, and it was like at that point I remembered that I'd been having contact with them all my life. From there things just took off, and from there on I had a number of conscious experiences.
So did it feel like with your connection with them, did it come through like in a dream, or in what ways would you get messages through from them?
Oh, look, all different ways, because I was actually instructed to learn meditation and Tai Chi during the 1983 encounter. So on a number of occasions I started learning to do automatic writing, and the messages used to come through that way, through the writing. Often dream states. I would wake up in the morning with very, very clear memories of actually being up on the ship with them and carrying out work beside them. So,
okay, so do you share your consciousness with them,
yes,
I suppose?
Yes, I do. This is something that I came to understand over a number of years. It took actually quite a while for me to accept it, but what I came to understand is that I am actually a Zeta, but I'm experiencing a life down here as a human, so that I'm learning to understand from both sides.
Amazing. So you really are a human, but how to explain this to people because it's so complex, but at the same token, I suppose your soul family is Zetas, aren't they?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Okay. And that's why you're able to get the messages through so much clearer, because you have this higher connection with them.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I've actually had many experiences where I have been up on the ship. I have conscious recall of being up there. And so through this personal experience I understand the communication difficulties. From my human perspective I understand the fear that people go through down here, but from the Zeta perspective I also understand the frustration of not being able to get through to people.
Yeah. Okay, well I hope it helps you all understand a bit more about Judy. So the next question, which relates to all this though too, is our higher self is the God part of us, but do we all share the same God part, or do humans, ETs and angels all link into something different?
No, we all share exactly the same, what we could refer to as God consciousness. This is a sentient consciousness that flows throughout the whole universe, and all of us are linked into it in oneness. So this is, when we speak about oneness, the ETs often refer to God as oneness or one or source, and this is exactly what they're speaking about here. It's a energy, a positive life force energy that permeates the whole of the universe and flows through every living being in the universe, binding us all together as one. And I'm profoundly aware of this as I'm working up on the ship as a Zeta or down here as a human. I'm exactly the same person.
Yes, I've also noticed that their emotions are the same as ours,
exactly.
Even though people think they're robots, they're not.
Exactly.
And they give this feeling of family and love so much. But how do you explain to people about the negative people then, or the negative ETs? You know, we're saying they've got God consciousness in them as well, if we're all one. So how do we sort of label those beings or people?
Well, the thing is it depends on how much we've opened the door to God consciousness. Free will applies through the whole universe, and that free will dictates, I mean, we are the ones in charge of whether we link into the positive or whether we link into the negative. Like attracts like, so if we're allowing negative negative experiences to happen to us, we tend to draw that into our energy field. And this is why it's really important to try to move past things like fear, because fear does lower our vibrational frequency. So it's important to try and move past that.
So love is your power.
Love is your power.
Once you love and understand you have your power within,
Yes.
then nothing
Yes.
can get in your way.
Yes.
Can
Like you used to say to your children, Helene, love conquers all.
Yes.
And this isn't just on planet Earth, it applies throughout the whole universe.
So these negative beings can't be on a very high vibrational frequency because they wouldn't be allowed to operate at that level, because they should have learnt your lessons when you move up the ladder, so to speak. So where are these negative beings or experiences coming from?
They're coming from what's known as the lower astral. People who are familiar with meditation and esoteric things speak about the astral plane, which permeates the physical plane. But, okay, parts of the astral are above the physical plane, which is the nice part, but there are parts of the astral plane which is below the physical. Now, a number of these supposed, what people perceive to be negative ET experiences are actually lower astral experiences. They're not ETs. They can take that form to fool
disguise.
people,
Yes.
because the whole idea is to lower people's frequency, whereas as Zetas here, we're trying to raise people's frequency. And so the negative forces don't want that to happen. And so, of course, they'll try and disguise themselves as us or whoever to keep people in a state of fear. And it's only through learning to tune in and link into the God within, which in turn gives the person the empowerment to be able to move past this lower astral interference.
Yeah, I remember Oris saying to us once that even though something negative may happen to you, it is, in the bigger scheme of things, it actually isn't negative. It's actually pushing you through your own barrier and moving you into your own empowerment.
Absolutely.
So from their angle,
Yes.
from the bigger picture, yes, it is bad,
Yeah.
but at the same token, it pushes us through to find more knowledge, to find out what's really going on, and then we go, now I get it, which happens with me many a time. And then I realised that I do have my own power now. I was a very disempowered person in the early days, or just through lack of knowledge and understanding. So now, because I can really feel it, it's not even knowing it, it's feeling it and understanding you have that power inside, and that love is my power. And it just dissipates the negativity all around you.
Oh, it's
so
very, very
that
much
helped me a lot.
Very much an inner feeling, and this is part of that shamanic experience, the dark night of the soul. Making a person, it's like as if humans need to be pushed to absolutely fully acknowledge with every fibre of their being that we all have God within us. So we all have that power within, the power of love. And that can overcome anything.
Yes, beautiful. So what do we need to... A lot of people have been asking Jude and I a lot in the last 12 months especially, what do we need to focus on in our lives to help in our journey and evolution?
Spiritual practice is very important. What we need to focus on is raising our vibrational frequency to the highest possible level that we can. And we do this through spiritual practice. Now, it doesn't matter what form that spiritual practice takes. It can be Tai Chi, it can be meditation, it can be Reiki, it can be traditional religion. But what people need to understand is that it must come from love. When fear comes into the picture, threats of a God who's sitting up on a throne in heaven going to punish you for your sins, etc., that's not spiritual practice. That's the negative force.
So hate isn't the opposite of love. It's fear, isn't it?
Fear, exactly.
So then from fear stems all the negative emotions, doesn't it? Like
Yes.
guilt or anger or impatience or... Yes.
Yes.
So then in turn you have to then, it's all about how you react to a person as well. Instead of it being it's my way or the highway,
Yes.
instead we've got to look from where they're coming from, that maybe they're acting this way because, of something going on in their lives, and the big thing both you and Oris and Maris have taught us is how we react to things. It's just to stop and breathe and realise sometimes that other person you're dealing with is a younger soul. Absolutely. And doesn't understand.
Absolutely. Hey? It's a matter of practicing compassionate non-attachment, which is an Eastern teaching. I mean, we speak about this in Reiki, compassionate non-attachment. Yeah. It's understanding, as you just said, it's understanding that the other soul is a younger soul, and not allowing that younger soul to impact upon us. We show them love, we show them caring, but we don't allow them to impact upon our vibrational frequency. But it does take quite a lot of patience to get to this point, to be able to do this.
And you can't do it for them, it's part of their own journey, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Because if you do it for them, that's taking away their free will. And we're not allowed to do that. And that's another issue that people bring up about the fear connected with the greys. They say, oh, the greys, they're going to come and take away our free will. They're going to make us into a hive mentality. That's a complete misunderstanding. We totally respect free will. We practice free will. We're not a hive mentality. We practice oneness. It's just that when we ever do anything, we do it for the good of all. We don't just think of self.
So really, yes, because I remember what you've written even in Human by Day, Zeta by Night, where you talk about it's God's will, not free will. Like as a human being down here, we just think of looking after just our own for ourselves. But with the ET groups or with the Greys and the Zetas, they work what's for the best of all, not just what's best for one.
Exactly. And that's where we're heading in our evolution as humans. We're moving away actually from free will, yes, but we're not going into a hive mentality. We're moving into God's will, which is what higher evolvement is all about in the universe.
Okay then. Well, thank you. I think we'll leave it at that for today. It was heavy enough for everyone. And we will, be back soon.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.